for this chat, I'm speaking to Joe Aspinall from Everywhen, who are one of our longest standing and most and closest partners, I would say. We do quite a lot of stuff together. So, Joe, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. Yes, I always love the intros into the chats because we've talked for about 20 minutes. We've got to think we've got to kind of make it, yeah, make it kind of like, oh yeah, hi, how you doing? So kick off, Joe. Do you want to say a little bit about yourself, what you do, and a bit about Everywhen, because I know Everywhen hasn't always been Everywhen.
No, yeah. So yeah, hi there. I'm Joe. I work for Everywhen Insurance, formerly known as Towergate, and we had a rebrand recently, sort of around November of 2025, to bring all the businesses that are under Towergate, and then there's many other broker names out there that all got brought under one roof as the Everywhen name. So I work within the site operators commercial team. So that helps with any insurance needs for holiday parks and alike. And I've been the commercial manager now, just coming up to a year. But previous to that, I was working within the team, and I've been working in this industry now for around 8 years, I'd say. And then previously, I worked in insurance in sort of personal lines as well. So that was with the caravans themselves, the park homes, and insuring the individuals on the sites. And then that easily moved into the commercial world and dealing with the site owners themselves. So yeah, that's what we do. So yeah, it's commercial insurance for holiday parks, and we can pretty much cover all their needs on the insurance basis.
I mean, you've been in 8 years. I never knew that. 8 years. That is a long. I mean, I've been in it. I've been working in and out of it by about 8 years as well. And I think, yeah, probably about 8 years as well. And I had black hair when we started. I don't think I did. No, but so you've seen quite a lot. You've seen quite a lot of change from the outside looking in over the last few years, right?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously that first started with the COVID
Mhm.
issues of what happened to the parks and all closing down. We were quite good. We did help our clients get through that, and we've had a lot of thank yous for helping clients through that at the time of devastation, really, wasn't it, with everything closing down and then reopening and what the challenges around that was. And then moving forward over the last couple of years, the cyber risk, which is becoming more prevalent, not just in this industry, but across all industries, to be honest. And it's probably the one aspect of insurance which maybe not be fully understood, but I think the industry is coming around to the idea that every park should have this insurance in place.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's nicely, oh, very good segue, Joe. You've kind of linked it directly to what we're talking about. Because one of the things that some clients, some people may wonder is, like, well, okay, why are Holidaymaker and Everywhen partners? And you've hit the nail on the head because my background, particularly being crikey, 30, nearly 35 years in digital. And when we first started talking with James, one of your colleagues, about 18 months ago about being a partner, I was really keen to work with you guys because I'd seen the way that, and not necessarily a lack of knowledge, but just a kind of, or a mixture of a lack of knowledge and a kind of fear
Mm.
has impacted different markets I've kind of been exposed to through digital, be that media, be that finance. I mean, in the early days of financial digital technologies, web-based technologies, it was Wild West. I worked for a couple of banks and a couple of investment banks as well, and it was literally trying to fix a leaky boat,
I bet.
and just the money and data was pouring out. Good lawyers that kept everything quiet, really. That was where most of the money went. The money didn't go on security. The money went on lawyers to make sure no one found out about them. Yeah. But we kind of slowly caught up with that, and I think you're right. I think having that discussion with James and you guys over the last year about actually if there's a way that we can bring a little bit of knowledge to the sector in a way that doesn't create a kind of fear factor, but create
Yes.
a kind of confidence. That's basically, I think that's a responsibility of us as holidaymakers, a software vendor, to kind of try and help our clients out. So both with your cyber hat on and with your wider insurance and kind of risk management knowledge on what kind of high level risks do you see this sector and parks becoming more exposed to? And kind of how do you see that kind of move? How do you see that continuing or transforming or changing or morphing into something else moving forward?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, there's a sort of a handful that come to mind straight away. So the ransomware, I still probably feel that's the biggest threat. Sort of the attackers out there will know that parks can't afford the downtime. They will lose bookings. They won't be able to check people in. People can't access the site as such because the barrier is linked to their system. So you've got a queue of traffic outside trying to get in, and you just can't access your barriers. They know that parks are going to have to maybe pay the money to get all those systems back up and running. So I think that's probably the main one at the moment. But then there is, as I said, there's a handful of others as well. So data breaches targeting the booking systems, payment info, the CCTV, and then ANPR. So then you've got a big GDPR issue there as well. But then that can fall into sort of the reputational risk as well. So yeah, you breach damages trust, could lead to cancellations, hits the repeat business, where you don't want to go and they've lost all my data and I've had to go around changing all my passwords and so forth. It's a bit of a hassle for the end client, isn't it? I touched on it earlier, so operational disruption as well. So yeah, your gates go down and the ANPR system that people have, EPOS systems, Wi-Fi, booking portals all could be affected as well from criminals attacking your system. And then as well, the social engineering, the phishing as well. It's often the easiest way for people to get in due to human error and so forth. So yeah, there's quite a few, and I don't obviously want to scare people, but there's a few ways that these hackers can disrupt your business.
It's a really. I'll come on. I'll ask a couple of specific questions on one or two of them in a bit if I can. But I'm really glad you raised the social engineering thing. That is the easiest way in to any system, isn't it? And whether that is, and again, I don't want to scare anyone, but I've seen cases in different sectors where individuals have been given money who are working for the organisation to get in and pull data out.
Wow.
And where and I see it with my mum. My mum's 82. She constantly gets messages on social media or email asking her to click on different links and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And hopefully I've got her well trained. Don't click on anything without giving me a call. But it's a kind of simple way and one that's often overlooked, isn't it? In terms of kind of like reinforcing your technology, it's the human part of it.
Yeah, and some of the ones that come across, you can tell straight away that what they're trying to do, but they're getting a lot better over time and becoming more complex as well. And there's normal bits that you can sort of would have been able to decipher if it is someone trying to get in or it actually is a legitimate email. Slowly, it's getting closer and closer where they are looking so legitimate now as well.
Yeah, very much so. But can we just drop back on a couple of ones you raised? Ransomware is one that always particularly interests me because it's kind of the area of blackmail and that kind of stuff, really, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
so the general process on ransomware, how does that generally manifest itself in terms of firstly getting in and then kind of like being highlighted to the customer by a criminal or by a nefarious individual?
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, they'll get in. So if that's part from a social engineering aspect, so they've been able to find a flaw in the system, and the hacker will get in. Then they'll lock down, they'll pull the data out or lock it all down, and then I guess they then approach the client, the holiday park, and will say, look, if you want your data back or if you want your systems back, you're going to have to pay X amount of Bitcoin or X amount, but £50,000, say. Otherwise, we'll release your data or you just won't be able to use your system ever again. And then they'll give them a sort of time frame. Knowing when I've spoken to a partner that we use for the insurance side, and that's Relentless Insurance, they have said that they have got a team of people who know the market of hackers, and there's some individuals out there that they'll say, yeah, if we pay you, we'll get the data back for sure, and that's the last thing they'll hear about it. But then there is some hackers out there that they know if they pay that the data's still going to get leaked, so they don't go down that route, because why pay the money to get the data back if it's still going to be put on the dark web? So then the insurer that we use, will put a team of specialists in place to try and get back in and get that data back without paying. But obviously both sides have a cost.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that's really interesting, isn't it? Because the kind of it sounds ridiculous, but the default reaction of anyone would be not necessarily anyone, but it will be, well, I'm going to pay to get it back, and not even think about the fact that it might just be sold back onto the dark web. They might just be, they might do this. And the other side is, well, I'm not going to pay because actually I can't afford it. I'm not going to give in to these people. But if they've got, if they've got a partner like yourselves and Relentless to go, okay, let's just look at this rationally. It's not a great thing that's happened, but let's look at this rationally. We can inform you and go, okay, well, actually, this is what's going to happen, but we can mitigate that, or we can at least alleviate some of the impact on your business.
That's it.
Speaking to you guys, I never knew half of this existed, by the way, these different these different setups and these different policies. But when you explained it to me, and hopefully we'll go through that today, it just makes perfect sense, and it is quite reassuring, actually.
Yeah, no, and I guess the insurance has changed over the years as well, where the risks are becoming more complex. So they've had to put in teams that will get back into the system and will discuss if they're going to pay or not, and put the teams in place for our clients as such, so that the holiday parks that take out this insurance. And it's evolved massively over the last few years.
It's really interesting. You have to deal with these people, don't you? You have to know them. You have to understand their thinking before you can even kind of work out what it is they want and what their motivations are. It's interesting we're talking about, and that's obviously the ransomware is kind of the ransomware and the ransom process is when a park knows about it or a client knows about it. But of course, the data breaches, thinking of the most recent 2 or 3 examples, the Co-op, Jaguar Land Rover, Marks and Spencer. That's kind of where, well, Jaguar Land Rover is slightly different. Marks and Spencer, the Co-op, that's where customer data was accessed with credit card information, basically sold on the dark web. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If I was a park and I read the newspaper about Co-op and Marks and Spencer, part of me would think, well, they're not going to worry about me. This is where I need you to tell me that they are going to worry about. They are going to look at me, and why would they look at me as maybe in terms of my comparison with Marks and Spencer, a small business? Why would I be in their crosshairs?
Well, the hackers, they haven't really got particular targets. They'll just look for any weakness they can find, and scrolling through every sort of any company that they can get their hands on. They'll work for companies as such, where the criminal organisations, these hackers will have targets to hit. So they're not fussed who they attack and who they go for. Obviously, if you get a Jaguar Land Rover or a M&S or Co-op, that's well done, kudos to you, and it'd probably be well looked at in that organisation. But also, you can, if you get sort of 20 of these lower end businesses, still turning over a lot of money as well, and to say, you still get the same end, and well, they still get the end result is still exactly the same. They'll get some money at some way. If it's not the ransomware, they'll be selling the data, say, and they're not fussed who they pick at all. They'll be just carving the internet for these different businesses.
And this data could be anything, couldn't it? We talked about email addresses and credit card data, but also when you touched on like CCTV and AMPR, it'd be easy for one to think, well, that's just images, right? But actually, it's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's everything that makes up. There's just data points everywhere, isn't there? That has value to somebody somewhere, right?
Yeah. It all has value, even if it's the value's small. It's still valuable to someone.
It's a currency, isn't it? Data's a currency as much as Bitcoin or cash, isn't it? So we've talked about kind of like the data breaches, payment information, CCTV, kind of the kind and how social engineering and ransomware work. What other aspects of kind of what other trends are you seeing that that so we talked about emails from unknown people or even emails from friends and family that they need to kind of be a little bit circumspect about in their individual lives that they could then put into place for their business.
Okay, yeah. So there's a few simple things that people can do to protect themselves, I guess. So strong passwords. You'd be surprised how many people still have password 123, or yeah, they've still got the generic one that comes with the system.
Really, they still
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
it's crazy, and that's just that's everyday life as well as businesses.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, setting a strong password with three unique words, different characters in there as well, and some numbers. You'd
yeah,
be surprised how long it can take a hacker to do that
really,
compared to password 123. So I think password 123 takes seconds for a hacker, whereas if you've got a three distinct words with some numbers and unique characters in there, that goes to years, if not hundreds of years, if not thousands of billions of years. So
really.
yeah,
Is that much of a, is it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There is a website you can test it. Obviously, it's secure. You can put your password in, and it'll tell you how many years it will take a hacker to actually break your password. And I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. So I can find that and
Well,
come back to you on that.
yeah, we'll add that. So I never, do you know, I never knew that. So
Yeah,
that's really, oh God, do I put my passwords in there? It's interesting you say that. The guys at Holidaymaker, that is their entire, we have a lot, the techies have a lot of um, red lines we don't cross. And that is exactly how we set our passwords up. The
yeah.
word, the three separate words and the number for everything. It's a pain for me to remember them, but I didn't know that. Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and you should have different ones as well, not keeping the same one, but just in case that one that you have done and managed to get in, then isn't reused for. They see that you're using another system, so oh, we'll try the same password then, and they
Yeah,
get in for that. So yeah, all of them should be different. So
yeah. The
I
amount of
know
time I have to
it,
ask them.
yeah, it's quite hard to remember, but that's why it's good when you've got computer systems that can remember them as
Yeah,
well for you. So yeah, it's quite good. I'm just trying to see what that website is, but I can't find it. Yeah, we'll have to come back and tell you what that is, and you can test it at the end.
yeah. I think that's really useful. I didn't know that. So there's the passwords. There's a kind of bog standards that some people might shrug their shoulders at, but that's a really interesting kind of aspect of it. What other kind of indicators or whatever kind of like simple tasks can people do in their real life and their kind of business life?
Yeah, so I guess regular updates on your systems when sort of like you see it on your Apple phone, they're sending updates to patch up security issues a lot of the time, and some people think, "Oh, I can't be bothered to do that." So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, that's going to that. Well, if I do that, then that's going to affect my battery now because I've heard this in the news that if you get the new iOS update on an older phone, the battery's going to disappear on it. So, but if you don't do the update, there is a flaw within probably the security of that. So yeah, regular updates, and then just basic cyber awareness, I guess, which is hence why we're on this call as well. If you can, yeah, decipher if an email that you've been sent that looks like it's from Amazon, but when you look at the actual email address, it's Amazon with a load of letters after it. It probably hasn't come from Amazon or Amazon. Yeah, Amazon people. You can tell. So simple things like that that you can educate yourself on. There's a lot out there on the web now as well, and that's going to help massively. So that's in your personal life and your business life, really.
A friend of mine, an ex-police officer who worked in this area um, of kind of cyber security. He quite a disciplined guy, but every week he spends 30 minutes just looking at what he needs to be aware of from a digital security perspective. Just has a cup of tea, goes out there and has a look around, and just goes, okay, well, this is what's coming, this is what I need to be aware of. And it's interesting because he's also he spent a lot of time on the dark web, as you can imagine, and the ease with which he could access and get hold of card
Mm,
and email information for 50 quid, five
that's crazy.
50 quid. And I've no doubt I could pop him a line and go, can you get me, can you get me the email addresses and credit card numbers of 5,000 people who booked holidays at UK holiday parks in the south of England? And he'd get that back to me in half an hour.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely,
absolutely crazy, isn't it?
no doubt
The,
about
the amount of stuff that's on there, and people are just unaware that it is. It's just hanging around waiting for people to buy it.
it's the privacy thing. I think
Mm.
it's that lack of it's that you're right. It's the social engineering. It's the kind of human aspect that puts businesses at risk. Oh, I don't care about my privacy. I don't care if Google track me. Well, you might not care if Google track you, but someone else might be tracking you at the same time. You
Yeah,
know, I got an SMS message about the winter fuel allowance from my mum on my phone, and it looked absolutely kosher,
yeah,
and I was just going to put credit card details in, and I was like, hold on a minute, why are the government asking for credit card details?
yeah,
It was just kind of like, and that's another thing. They're coming through your
yeah.
phones as well
Where
now,
you
aren't
going?
they?
Yeah, I had one recently. Yeah, you owe tax.
Yeah.
Why's the government ever texting me telling them that I'm owed tax? It just doesn't happen, does it? But people that may be in a bit of trouble at the time, and I need that money, and they chuck the card details straight in. Or yeah, some people just see it as it's a government agency. So why would it be unscrupulous as such?
Yeah, and the proliferation of digital in everyone's pockets is only going to exacerbate that. Can I talk about, and this is kind of like coming at it from a holiday maker perspective as well, actually. What kind of questions do you think, or would you recommend um, clients, parks asking of their suppliers, specifically kind of software suppliers, but what kind of like two or three, four questions would you kind of say, look, these are the questions your suppliers need to answer um, to kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, sure. So a few come to mind. So um, how do you handle and store our customer data? Because they are third parties, they're still getting that data. So if yeah, how are they storing it? And if it's not secure, what are they going to do about it as such? And then what cyber standards do you meet? So is that, have they got cyber essentials? Have they got ISO 27001, which is an international standard, which you can get and you can follow. If you have a breach, how are we notified and how are we protected? Because yeah, they could just think, oh, there's no problem there at all. It's our data. How does that have an effect on our clients as such? And then do you encrypt the data in transit and at rest as well? Yeah, what are they sending over to people? Is it encrypted? A lot of the times you might find that people are sending spreadsheets with all this data on, but is it encrypted at all? And all it takes is someone to get into that person's email account and they've got all the data straight away. If it was encrypted, it'd have been even harder to access that data. And then does that supplier use subcontractors who also take the data? There's always a chain of this data going through. And there's another aspect of where people can attack and get in, and then once they're in that, say that subcontractor, can they bounce it over to the new supplier?
Mm. And it's where that status held as well, isn't it? Because I suppose if people are using subcontractors, those subcontractors could be anywhere in the world now, couldn't they?
Yeah.
So where's that data being held? It's interesting. One of the things we absolutely have across our platform is everything is hashed and encrypted to within an inch of its life, really. And that is one step, but making sure it's within reason the data stored in the UK. Of course, we have. I mean, I'm talking about. It's a good way of kind of explaining it. We have parks that have customers from Europe, and they download our app onto their phones in Europe. So we have to be aware of that. You know,
Sure.
we have to be aware that our app is able to be downloaded in Europe. Therefore, that customer's data is going to be stored in Europe somewhere, and we have to adhere to their principles as well. But we have to make sure we use certain um, servers and certain kind of that they're compliant with certain security. And
Right.
ironically, if you take Germany for example, that is one of the most secure kind of technical environments in the world actually. So actually, it's being stored in Germany is probably a
The
lot
best.
secure than a lot of places in the world.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Okay, brilliant. So we've talked about those questions that should ask suppliers. So I'm going to make sure that we've got answers for all of them. I think we
Yeah.
have. We have.
Yeah.
I think we have.
I'll send you those questions over after and you can come back to me.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. and we've talked about the questions they kind of got people have got to ask themselves. So it's kind of like, do you think? I'll throw this question in there. We haven't really kind of talked about this, but do you think, in your experience, clients across the piece, but in your time in the park sector, do you think, because these park owners and operators have got a lot of other things to worry about, do you think they take this as seriously as they should, these cyber risks, or do you think they're beginning to understand the seriousness of?
I think it's getting better. When I discuss this with some of our clients, they know they know what it is. You don't have to sort of educate them too much. But one of the pushbacks, I guess, which we're trying to educate, which is hence jumped on this with you as well, Dave, and hence why we are discussing cyber insurance through the XP events that you do. It's always, oh, my IT guy sorts that out. He's absolutely perfect at all this IT stuff. He will have everything in place that we need. And I'd be very surprised if every time that they have got everything they need in place. So recently we had someone that said, oh, we've been hacked. The data was accessed, but we had it all backed up and our IT guy sorted it out. There's a few different bits that you need to look at there, I guess. And it isn't it definitely isn't the right way to be looking at this data that you hold as such. So that was quite surprising, to be honest. But that's what I hear quite a lot as well. But as I said, park owners are getting more aware of it and the risks that fall behind being hacked as well.
Would you say it's worth parks? We talked about cyber essentials with software vendors. Do you think it's worth parks just spending a bit of time, because it's a training thing for staff as well, isn't it? I personally think it's well worth doing. But would you?
No, 100% is worth doing. And even if you go away and you've learned one little aspect of it, it's still well worth it, because that could be the difference of being hacked or not being hacked. But by just doing this cyber essentials, and we can help with our partner Relentless, who can help with that cyber essentials and other sort of training that they can do, or courses that people can complete.
I think it's a very nice first step, I think, personally.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So thanks for that, mate. So the elephant in every digital room. I went to a friend's birthday thing last night, near where we used to live, and I saw a couple of old neighbours and friends there. First thing they said to me was, apart from "Hey, how you doing? What are you doing here?" was, "How's AI affecting your business?" That was it. And this was an ex-teacher, an ex-joiner, and I was like, "We're embracing it, but we're circumspect about it. It will transform the entire workplace and the entire economy." So we can't talk about cyber, and we can't talk about digital kind of risk management without talking about AI. How do you? And I know you're not an AI expert, and frankly, if anyone says they're an AI expert, they're a liar, right? Nigel Farage will get a bit political. Nigel Farage will say he's an AI expert if he could get away with it. However, how do you think the landscape's going to change moving forward in terms of risk and risks associated with digital, with the kind of the advent of
AI? Yeah, like you said, I'm no way an expert, and if I was, I'd probably be getting paid a lot more than I am now.
Be talking to this idiot here, would you? No, quite. But thank you.
No, and it's always evolving. So what could be, it's changing so much. So what's an issue? What could be an issue today? In 6 months' time, it could be totally different. So just to say at the moment, so that it is evolving, as I said. So AI is making phishing and scams are far more convincing. So gone are the days where you get an email to say that you've got a long lost uncle you're inheriting $20 million.
Nigerian princes, that kind of thing.
Yes. So gone are the days where that's happening. Now AI is coming up with the scams. So the language being used is exactly the language we would use in these phishing emails that you do receive. The sort of the way the email looks as well is becoming far more convincing, because AI is always learning as well. So and I guess they're building these AI agents for themselves, which they'll learn from what worked last time, so what didn't work so much, and they'll keep changing these emails up and these phishing and these scams to make them far more convinced. And so I guess in the near future, you might not even be able to tell from the normal things you can look at, which is it's quite scary.
Isn't it? Really is. Yeah.
So and then deep fake voice and email impersonation is becoming the mainstream attack methods as well. It's how the way that's evolved over the last I can't get my words out, few months. It is scary. It's really scary, isn't it? And how lifelike it's all becoming. So yeah, you might get a phone call and it sounds like it's someone you know, and they've managed to get hold of their voice and said, "Oh, I really need your help. Can you send some money over?" You wouldn't second guess it, would you? Really, if it sounds exactly like them.
Do you know? I'm really glad we're having this conversation anyway. But I was listening to a podcast. The rest, and I'm not. The rest is politics, right? That kind of thing. And then they have these interviews with certain people, and the ex-head of GCHQ was on there. And do you know what he said? Exactly that. He said, and they asked him, I said, what do you think the main risks are going forward in terms of not the whole security aspect of it? And he said it's in. So when you said social engineering, I was like, bingo, because that's what you should be the head of GCHQ, Joe, because this guy said exactly the same. And then he was talking about a scenario where he said, is in the old days with an old Nokia phone, if you texted your mate and said, "Oh look, I'm in London, I had an interview with a couple of people, but I've lost my wallet. Can you come and meet me and give me 50 quid or whatever?" You'd go, "All right, yeah, Joe, okay, yeah, no problem, mate. I know I know you're up there. I know you said I'll come to it." Um, uh, if with a smartphone you had a text from me going, "Oh, I need 50 quid," a few years ago, you'd go, "Hold on a second, that's a bit sus. Why is he asking me for? Where is he? What's he doing? Text me 50 quid." Because I used to get text messages like that. "What's up? Send me 50 quid." He said now, with the advent of this surveillance economy, your phone knows where you are, all your apps know where you are. That message would now be, "Hey Joe, I've just been interviewed by Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart. They both gave me a hard time. The traffic was terrible. The weather, I'm soaking wet. And guess what? I've lost my wallet in the back of a cab. Can you send me 500 quid?" You probably go, "Oh, that sounds reasonable because it's context, knows where you are, knows what you've been doing." You'd kind of know that he was doing that. And he said that's what AI can do. AI can create context around everything.
Yeah.
You saying that is really interesting. Yeah.
No, and it can, and you see it as well where it'll be one of these scam companies, and they've used AI to have David Beckham sell their product, and he's got no knowledge that it's being used at all. And then people look at him like, well, if he's the ambassador for this, whatever they're trying to sell, it must be legit. So, that looks really good for me. I'll put my card details straight to that, and again, that's it. You've just been done straight away.
I suppose that's interesting because it takes us into a slightly different world there. But parks could be embroiled in that, couldn't they? There's nothing stopping a nefarious individual going, "Well, we're going to put, let's take Martin Lewis because he's the one that gets exposed. He's the one that gets attacked a lot."
Yes.
But Martin Lewis selling units on this holiday park at this website, all of it's fake.
Yeah.
Put a deposit down, put a holiday down. We had a park in Scotland that had a Latvian family turn up expecting to see tree houses, and they paid €600 to stay in these tree houses a week. This holiday park is on the flattest part of Scotland you could possibly imagine. And they were like, we don't have tree houses. And this Latvian family were like, "What? I've paid you £600."
Yeah, it was through your website, which looked exactly the same about.
Yeah. So that's another exposure, isn't it? That's. Any other aspects of AI that you think are going to kind of? Oh, we've covered a lot there, but is there
yeah. So I guess a big one, and we've touched on it earlier. Why would they? Why would hackers hack holiday parks, not the bigger companies? So they're now making the AI-driven bots, which are constantly scanning for the weakness. So gone are the days where it's a person scanning around for these weaknesses. They're actually making AI bots that will do it. And think how many more companies and how many more data bits they can look at, because you can have millions of these AI bots scanning around for weakness. And that's the bit I think is going to be, you're going to see more of in the future.
Kind of having an attitude, isn't it? And this sounds very downcast and downbeat, but it's kind of have an attitude that one must expect that you are constantly being attacked. Your digital environment, every part of your digital setup,
Yeah.
from your CCTV cameras to your till system to your website, is being attacked at any one time, or at least being sniffed at to see if there's a weakness in there. It's just having that attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But sort of, to sort of go against that as well. So AI-powered defense tools are improving that help with the detection and the response of it as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. AI is going to be used for good within this sort of hacking landscape as well. So yeah, there might be some bad people out there, but there's also some good people out there trying to help.
That's a really good point, and it's easy to overlook, isn't it? That actually you can turn these attacks on themselves and kind of like, yeah, when we next talk, I'll be quite interested to talk about some of them attacking defense tools. If that's not a kind of anachronism, I'd be quite interested in that because we will do this again. So to summarize, what kind of 3, 4, 5 kind of like bullet points or kind of learnings would you want people to take away from our chat today?
Yeah, sure. So so holiday parks and alike, as we touched on, use strong the simplest one, use strong passwords and multi-factor authentication. It's the easiest win. It's the first thing you should be looking at, essentially. If you've got strong passwords, it's harder to get in. Multi-factor authentication as well.
Which is a text message to your phone or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Or you have to, you've got an app on your phone which you have to put a code in and then it scans your face. So it's probably 3 different ways that it's checking that you're the right person to get into that system. Review your suppliers. So the holiday park security is only as strong as the weakest link out there. Another good one to do, keep the systems updated. So outdated software is normally the low-hanging fruit for the attackers. And as we said, there's just looking everywhere for any way they can get in. So if you're not updating your systems, there's probably a reason why they wanted to be updated in the first place, and that's because people can easily get in. So, and then a good one just a couple to finish up on. So know your incident plan. So if you were to have an attack, who would you call? What steps would you take? And how fast can you implement those as well? And that's a really good idea for people to take away, I'd say. Not just think, I've got the insurance there, it's all going to be fine. But what would you do to implement that? Because if everything's on your system and it's being hacked, how are you going to get the numbers to call? How are you going to email the different people that you need to get involved to stop the incident getting any worse? So have those written down in a file, which is in the office, is a good one to do. And then that brings me on to, so check your insurance, check you've got the right insurance in place, check the conditions as well, I'd say is one of the main points. So make sure you actually would be covered for these different incidents that we've discussed, or something that comes to their mind. Are they actually covered for it? Because we find a lot of the time there is different conditions within the policy that they may not be adhering to. So they may not have multi-factor authentication. So straight away, the insurer could say, well, you haven't got that, but so you're not covered. But holiday parks may not know that this is in place. It's not being pointed out to them by their broker or their insurance company. So what we're doing together, Dave, isn't it? We're offering silent reviews for all holidaymaker sort of parks and suppliers as well. So we can offer a silent review, which will look through these different conditions for you. We'll look through if you have to have certain security systems in place for the insurance to come into play if you do get hacked. And that is a free silent review to all your holidaymaker parks and partners. So if you would like one of these to take place, please reach out to obviously Dave or myself or my colleague James as well, and we'll look to help you and see if there's anything we can help with and offer some advice.
Yeah, it's a big thing for us, isn't it? I'm really keen on all our partner stuff that everything we do with partners is for the benefit of everyone else. We're not a big, massive business. We are kind of like a bit of a kind of like, we're still a startup. We still see ourselves as a startup, but we do see opportunities and risks and challenges, and that. And when we kind of when you guys came to us and said, when we were talking about what we're going to be doing over the next year, look, we can do this for customers. We can kind of silently, which is basically very in the background, very discreetly, just going, okay, well, this is what you're covered and not covered for your cyber. Therefore, if these things happen, this is what you are covered for, and this is what you're not covered for. And we're going to do it with you guys. Um, I can't recommend every single one of our clients and every single one of our partners should do it because it's just that peace of mind. I think it's great. And what we'll do, and this video will probably be coming out before well, it will be coming out before our XP in Devon, 25th of
Right.
March. So um, uh, get in contact with us if you're listening or watching, if you're brave enough to watch me and Joe talking. But Joe and James and a couple of the other guys will be at the event in Devon. And Relentless, who are the cyber guys that Joe and James and everyone work with, are going to be there doing a little kind of workshop and presentation, which will highlight probably some of these risks as well. So yeah, it's definitely a really good. No, we're really thankful for you guys doing that. It's something that, yeah, if you don't do it as a park, I don't really, you've got to do it.
You could have everything. It could be absolutely fine, and we just go back and say, yeah, everything's absolutely fine. You should be fine if you do get these different hackers coming in. But at least peace of mind, isn't it?
Peace of mind. No, brilliant. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for your time. That was fantastic.